What is good, creatives? Tunji from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my weekly design review. All right, I have designs I'm going to be critiquing today, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy everything I'm going to share with you in this video. So sit back, relax, and keep watching. So this is the first design I'm going to critique today, and before I share what is affecting the success of this design, I want to quickly let every one of you know that design is not just about, placing the content on your design. All right, it's not about just putting things on your design or just putting text on the artwork. No, it's about creating a picture. All right, it's about you creating a world. And if you don't make the world beautiful, if the world is not looking interesting, people are not going to get involved. So on this first design here, I noticed the lack of, I noticed the not using the element well. And that's why the composition here is dull. One of the things that always affects the success of our design is not using the right illustration on the design. And I know so many designers think, okay, if I use the right illustration on my design, I think there's no other thing I need to look for again to illustrate what the project is talking about. There's also the part of you using color to create impression on your design. There's also the part of you using your type, illustrate what the project is talking about, because your type, your color, and the illustration you use on the project, they work together. All right, they work together, and that is why when you see an event IV that is for VIPs, you know the event is for VIP with the type of font and the picture they use on the design with the color. And that's the same thing that applies to every design project. So when you don't pay attention to the type of font you use on your design, it affects the success of the design. Then the other thing again is the using of too many playful type. And that's one of the things that is affecting this project here. This font here is not good. All right, and this here is not really okay. Now there are other designs where you can use fonts like this, but in the case where you are trying to create a project that is for professionals, fonts like these are not okay. Your fonts should look corporate. You're supposed to use more of sans serif or serif type. Playful fonts like these are not really good, and that's why I said font is also another way of creating that illustration on your design. So when you don't now use the right font on your design, it's going to change the message, and that's why this design is not successful. Now, I know so many of you already know that, okay, there's the part of you allowing white space on your design. The use of white space is not the way so many designers think it is. Like where you feel, okay, I'm asked to use white space, so I have to make sure there's white space on the project. No, there's a strategic way of using white space. The use of white space should be used like the way you set trap. I always use that illustration a lot, where you set trap for, the mouse in your house or rat in your house. All right. For example, you're in a place where there's too many people. All right. And there's somebody among those people that you want him or her to see you or to notice you. You are not going to hide where there's plenty people. Rather, you will move yourself to a place where that person can quickly see you where you are. And that's the same way we use white space. You don't just use white space because, okay, yes, I just want to have white space on my project. And that's what I noticed this designer, did well here. All right. I noticed that's what this designer did here. And that is not really okay at all. All right. So what I'm going to advise this designer to do is please do yourself good by going to check my other design review videos. I believe if you watch 4 or 5 videos to bless you and help you with knowing how to put good design, how to achieve good design composition. All right, so I'm done on this and I'll go straight to the next design. Now, the issue I have with this is also not successful, and why this is not successful is because of the layout. I know this is supposed to be together with this revive and my soul are supposed to be together. The way you did it here now looks like this here is the title. Now this is now the slogan or the rider. The way you play with your title All right, matters a lot. Now, there's a part of you creating contrast with your title, all right, which is using two different fonts. But when you combine 3D text with just a normal text on your project, you are creating that distance. All right, you're creating distance. When I say distance, you're saying the two information are different. So if you want to create that unity here, all right, I expect you to use the 3D text also on this title here to create that unity, to create that connection. Now you can now use another font for my soul, all right, but it has to be 3D to create that connection. But if you use a text with just ordinary text like this on a 3D type, you are going to change the message. Now, there's a way you now need to, you can use a normal text with a 3D text, but the elements where you're going to place the text should have that 3D effect. I mentioned something before I get to this other option that I've shared with you, right? That there should be connection whenever you're creating your title, your 3D title. All right. Now, if you make the for example, let's say this is a board here. If you make this board here, all right, a 3D object, and you now place this normal text on it, it will still work. But in a situation where you now draw something like a vector and then something like a brush effect here, then you now put the text on it. No, it's changing the message. All right. Now, even if you want to do it this way, because there are times where you can do it this way, but there's a strategic way of doing it. There's a way you can do it that it will flow, it will connect. But the way you did it here, look like there's this distance between this and this here. So that's the first thing that is affecting the success of this design. Then the other thing that is affecting the success of the design is placing a white text on a bright background is not always nice. All right. So there should be contrast. There should be white and dark. That's how to do it. You don't place white on white. You're going to affect the visibility of the text. Okay. Then the contrast here is nice, but the connection is not balanced. And that's why I said this part here is not successful. Then the placing of white text on a white background is this. So please avoid it. It's not good to place white color on a white background. All right. It's not always nice. Okay. Then the way you did this, your arrangement here is not, is not okay. This is not always nice in design, creating all this type of zigzag layout. It's not always nice. It's not always nice. It's always good if we have a straight line here, and then you cannot do your zigzag on this side. Straight line here, and you not do your zigzag there. And then I noticed, you guys always do this justification of text, like where you always end up having too much space between your words or your sentence. It's not always nice. There are some fonts that don't allow this. So whenever you notice that after applying it to the text in the text frame, all right, you notice you're having all this space between your words or your sentence. Please turn it off. It's not going to help the project. The fact that you saw someone do it, or the fact that you see it on somebody else's design, does not mean it's right. It's not everything you see on people's design that is right. There are some errors that most designers apply on their design project that you need to run away from. And that's why, as designers, you need to understand the principle of design. You need to understand what it takes to achieve a good design, so that when you see a design that is not successful, you can quickly spot it and know, okay, this is not okay. All right. Yeah. So your placing of this here is not okay. And the way this is going out, no, this is not okay. So what I would advise you to do, all right, is please, if you're the designer, you're watching this video, I would advise you to watch my other design review video. I believe if you do, it will help you. All right. Yeah. But I hope you get my point on this side here and also this. All right. So let's go straight to the next design. Now, here, all right, I like the fact that we have this side here with nothing disturbing our focus, all right, and beautiful. But this is still not successful. And I'll tell you why this is not successful. If you're the designer, pardon me, I'm trying to help you here. All right. Now, the first thing I notice is the placing of elements the wrong way. All right. The placing of element the wrong way. This here, okay, is not, this here is not supposed to be there. All right, it's not supposed to be there. It's causing confusion. In fact, it looks as if it's floating because there's no shadow under it. In fact, it's not even supposed to be there. It's not necessary. We already have this. This is not necessary. All right, this is not necessary, and I'll tell you why. Your goal, your job as a designer is not to load the design up with elements. Your job is to find ways to take away elements that are not helping. That's how to achieve a good design. If anything is not adding to your design, it's surely going to take away from the design. All right, it's surely going to take away from the design. So this here is not necessary. We already have a bag here, all right, which is okay. That depicts the back to school illustration. But this, don't use this. That's one. Then the other thing that I always say to you guys here that this designer did not apply to this project is, see, images, all right, when you use any illustration on your project, please, I want you to know that every detail, all right, every element, every object in that illustration is also part of the project. So whenever you are placing any element, any image on your project, try see if that picture or that illustration is not carrying too many details. Because when you place pictures next to each other like this, all right, you are also making the project too heavy, or can I say too busy? All right, you're making it too busy. There are times where you can do this. It's not like it's bad, but why I think it's bad is because number one is there's no white line separating them. All right, there's no white line separating the frame. The same white line you have here, I expect you to have it here to create that separation. So to look like a film stripe. All right, so I expect you to have it here. That's one. Then the other thing that I think you did not do well here, that I believe if you apply to the project it will help more, is making use of different colors on the pictures. All right, making use of different colors. You know, the color here is different from this. This is different from this. This is different from, no, yeah, it's just three pictures. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 different colors. So what I would have advised you to do is to convert it to black and white, and it will make sense. Then lastly is repetition. Repetition is good in graphic design, but you only use the repetition to project you know, a particular information on your project. Is another way we make our design project look dynamic and interesting. But it's not always good to use it's not always good to use repetition on illustrations like pictures. It's not always good. Now, there are times when you can do it on your project, but you only do it when the information on the project asks for it. So I'm saying this here now because of the way you repeated this image here. No, it's not professional. It's bad. It's bad. You know, I'm going to say what I mentioned in what I said in the previous design on this design again. Your goal is not to create that impression that, okay, I don't want people to feel I didn't do too much. No, your job is to see, okay, what can I take out to help the success of this project? And let me tell you, the simpler your design, the more it looks attractive to the eye. When you load your design with too many contents, the design is not going to do what it's supposed to do. And when your design is not doing what it's supposed to do, your time on that design is just waste. The money you spend getting the element you use on the design is just waste. All right. So please take note of all these things. Repetition on images is good, but when the information on the design, when the design requests for it, but if the design never requests for it, please don't do it. All right. Then lastly is this. The feel, the color used on this is dull. And why I'm going to say this is dull is this. You know, color is one of the ways we use it to evoke emotion. Do you understand? We're talking about back to school here. We need to create that impression that back to school should be interesting. It's something that people will enjoy. But when you use dull colors to illustrate the back to school, you are going to create that impression like the going back to school is not interesting. So color is one of the ways we create that happy feel, that happy atmosphere on our design. It's part of how we create that happy impression on our design projects. So I expect this project to be more colorful than this. Now, I'm not saying that you should now combine 4, 5, 3 colors on your project, all right? Or combine any color the way you feel, okay, because Caesar said, okay, let me use color on the project. No, there's a strategic way of using it. There are some colors that when you combine them together on your project, it's not going to make the design project look successful. So take your time to check colors that look interesting to you, that you saw, maybe, when you see them on designs, they make you feel like getting involved. Apply this type of color on your project. My advice is, or part of how I do this well, is combining primary colors with secondary colors. All right, that's part of how I, combine color well. And another thing I do is that I use the triadic color harmony to do this. All right, by combining those colors on my project to spice it up. All right, so I believe if you can watch out for how you combine colors, or just train yourself more on how to combine colors on your design project, I believe it will help you. All right, so let's go straight to our last design for today. All right, so I know this design is a fictional project because the designer sent a message that he's just playing with himself and he decided to create this project. Now, this is a church project, and good job to the designer. I noticed you are trying to make your design simple. Kudos to you. Good job. But the problem I'm going to have with your design here is first off, there's too much contrast. All right. When I say too much contrast, I'm referring to the way you play with your images here. All right. And also the way we have your title here. Now, the title, all right, the title is not really okay, and I'll tell you why. Whenever you're playing with letters, all right, avoid making them overlap the way you did here, because we normally identify text by their shape. All right, it's with their shape that we normally use to identify them. But when you now alter the look of the shape, you're going to change the message. All right, you're going to, pass another message. So I expect to see that space here. All right, I expect to see the space here. First, to let us know that this is fully L. Now, I know you will be thinking, but you already know it's L. See, if I know it's L, somebody who does not really understand this, who is new to the word glory, somebody who is new to the word glory may not know that that's what you did here. Do you understand? So please, when you're doing design, don't make your design fall on one side. All right, do something that everybody can easily see on your project. All right, that's for that. Then the other thing I think you did not do well here is the way you played with that text here. All right, all this your text here are not, they are not helping at all. And I'll tell you why. Now, when you're putting people's name on your design, all right, please never, place them the way you did here like this. No, don't do that. All right, don't do that. In fact, don't repeat this. Your font, this font you use here is too, how do I put it? It's making the project look somehow. All right. There are several ways you can do this. You can use a more simple font to show the name, or you can break this. Yeah, you can make the name 2 lines. Or yeah, you can still make the name 2 lines and make it small. Okay, I believe that will still help. All right, and it's a very beautiful font. The font uses a very beautiful font, but because you make it too much here like this on the project, it's making the project look somehow. It's making it somehow. So whenever you notice you have a lot of artists like this on your project, please avoid using all this calligraphy text on your project. All right, don't use calligraphy text to write names. It's going to make it look too playful. It's going to make it look boring. So for me, I would advise you use the normal text like the sans type to just write the name of the characters. That's that. Then the last thing I'm going to say here on this design is see. whenever you're placing elements on your design, just picture it the way things appear to you in real life. All right. Now, I noticed this artist here is looking bigger than this person here, here, and here. So it's making it look like it's making the project look like this person here is a giant. Well, if he is a giant, it can still work, but nobody wants to put a giant on a concert project because it's going to distort the look of the project. All right, it's going to distort the look of the project. And the other thing I'm going to advise you to avoid again when working on your next design project is whenever you are given 4 or 5 pictures to use on your project, and you notice one of the picture used or picture given to you is black and white, make every other picture that you receive black and white. Why? Because the picture with the black and white is going to carry more contrast than every other picture on the project. And that's why I said this project has, too much contrast. And I'll tell you, this is contrast 1, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4 here, and yeah, like that. And when you have too much contrast on your project, it's going to make the project boring. So if you have a black and white picture that you are asked to use on your project, please apply the black and white to every other picture to create that unity. You only do this if you are asked to do it, or maybe there's a message, there's a point you are trying to pass to the audience. But if that's not the case, don't do this again. Take everything I share with you here now and apply it to your next project. All right. So I think that's it. So I'm going to stop here on the critiquing of the design. And if you have questions you want to ask me, you can ask your question. So my first question is coming from Oni Samuel, and Samuel is saying, how do you pick the right color choice and blend for your design? Good question, Samuel. Now, first, I want to let you know that there is no one right way to use color in design. Yes, I know some of you will say, yes. There's no one right way to use color in design, but there are some basic things that you must avoid. Like, for example, combining that, like what I mentioned on one of the designs, putting a black color on a black background, putting a white color object on a white background, or putting a black color object on a black background. There will be a problem. All right, that's one. Then number 2 is to use color. You need to first understand your client and your audience. You need to understand their belief on how they see color. And that's what you're going to use to apply the color that you want to use on your project. And that's why as designers, you need to make sure you ask the right question before you jump into working on any design project. Ask them questions. The color part is very key. I've worked with so many clients and I've come across some of them that say the reason why my design was rejected was because I used color that they are not really fan of. Like, they don't really like those color on their project. That was after we now agreed on the color to use that the design was approved. So you need to know the right color, that your clients believe or like, or the audience, know your audience, and then use that to pick colors on your project. Now, there are other ways that you can, I can teach you on how to pick colors, but because of time, I'm not going to go into that now. But if you want to learn the combining of colors, how to combine colors, I have tutorials on how to combine colors on my YouTube channel. So if you go there, or if you search now, I believe you can see the tutorial, and I believe if you watch it, it will help you. All right. Yeah. I'm sure you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my tutorials. Share, like, and comment on this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.